Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show, home improvement and maintenance tips from the pros.
Welcome to the Handyman Pros Radio Show Action Edition, where we feature feedback from you, our listeners. I'm here with my old buddy Larry. Larry, what's been going on?
Well, John, it's an interesting thing. This week I was actually doing a job. We talked on one of our shows about doing recessed lighting. So I was actually doing a recessed lighting job, and I was up in the ceiling, and I'm up in the ceiling, and I was sitting there, and as I was looking at the ceiling, going, "How am I running the wires up there?" And what did I do? And this actually lends to us. This had to do. We got an email from, I can't remember who, but somebody sent us an email at questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. They sent us in a thing that said, "Do you know anything about endoscopes?" And I said to myself, as a matter of fact, I do, because John, you and I both, you saw, who bought it first? I don't remember. But anyway, I took my little trusty dusty endoscope that actually links to my cell phone, and I fed that baby up in there, and I got a look around up inside. I actually happened to be up in a truss ceiling, so it was really nice. I could see a bit around a bit, and got a thing. So I thought we would talk a little bit about endoscopes, right, John?
Yeah, right. I mean, this thing has saved my bacon plenty of times. I will tell you that before I cut apart a ceiling doing some pot lights in the ceiling. I didn't know it was a truss ceiling, and right. I drilled a little hole up there and I stuck that thing in there. And I looked around, and folks, what this is, they come and they communicate with your cell phone, actually with Wi-Fi. Right. It has its own Wi-Fi. Not to get technical here, but you don't need to hook up to a different, a Wi-Fi and a router and all that kind of stuff. It communicates that way, but it's a little box, and it has a varying length of a pipe on it, kind of, like a
and you can get them with
hose.
Screens. Yeah, you can get them with screens too. But what the concept of an endoscope is it's a very small camera that fits up in like the end of a cylinder, and it's on an optic cable. I'm not really sure how they work.
It's like on an optic cable, and it's coiled, and you can pull the coil apart, and it's about I think mine's 11 feet long or
ours
something
are 11
like that.
feet long,
and it's waterproof, so you can stick it down a drain or whatever. But if you'll see these things, right? The professionals who use these things, and they'll have the built-in cameras and stuff. Well, now they have them so that you can use your phone, and it actually could record and take pictures and all kinds of stuff. It's pretty neat. But I put that thing up there, and I didn't know it was a truss ceiling. It was a truss ceiling, and this thing has just saved my bacon. Just knowing where to drill or what's behind the wall.
Yeah.
You probably kind of have a good idea what's behind the wall, but you can drill a little tiny hole in the wall and stick this thing in there and really make sure that you're not about to cut into something that you're going to really regret.
Like the vault. Oh, wait, I didn't say that. So I have a couple of endoscope stories I want to share, right? So one was I had a customer had a water leak, and the water was leaking out of one of his recessed lightings, one of his canned lights, right? And we could not, for the life of us, figure out where the hell this water was coming from. Excuse my language. We could not figure out where this water was coming from. It happened to be up. There was a bathroom close. This was in a downstairs, and there was a bathroom close upstairs, but he was also close to the outer wall, and we really couldn't tell whether the water was coming from the bathroom or from the outer wall, right? So I put my endoscope in there. And by the way, this particular endoscope that we have has a little light on it. So
yes.
It self-lights in the dark. So we flipped that endoscope up in there, and I actually put my flashlight up in there to get a whole lot more thing. And I could see the water tracks. And the water tracks were coming from the outside window. So long story short, we fixed it with that. Sorry, I had to cough. So the other story I have is, John, you remember, did I ever show you the videos of my fuzzy little buddies that were up above my bathroom? Yeah. So this is one for folks for you out there in the world. We had squirrels that were above our bathroom in our house, and they were driving me nuts because they would scratch all night long. So one day, me being me and having this endoscope, I stick that thing up in there. Well, I got great pictures of the 2 squirrels that were living in my above my bathroom, and they did not like that endoscope being up in there. They got all nervous, but it was pretty cool because I've got great game camera video of this thing. And then I suppose there's many other uses that you could use it for, but we're not going to talk about those.
Yep.
But really good tool. Really good tool.
Exactly. It is. I don't know if you can live without it now. I mean, to me, that thing, just like I said, it saves me all the time, and it really is it's good peace of mind to know before I go and cut into a wall or put a nail in that I'm not going to
puncture a pipe,
puncture a copper pipe or something like that. This thing is just is a great little piece of equipment.
So, quick question. So, number one, where can you get these things?
Sure, you can. We got them over Amazon.
Yep.
And you can go searching for them there. So they weren't very expensive. Very reasonable versus the kind that you would go to a big box store and find the other ones that have the screen in them and everything. These are just they're great. They're great, and they just charge up on a mini USB.
Mini USB. How much were they roughly? Do you remember?
I want to say they were like, I think $35, $40,
something like that. Yeah,
somewhere in that neighborhood, depending upon kind of some of the bells and whistles. But I think I've got the 11-foot one that was maybe $35 or something. I mean, it was really reasonable, and it is just, I mean, it works like a dream. Honestly, it's great. So
yeah, anything else to be concerned about with them, John? At all? I bought a case for Ryan because I'm big on having them in a case.
I just I keep it in the box and stuff, and I put it in my electrical stuff. But no, I mean it's just it. I think they work great, and I think it's a great investment for anybody out there.
Yeah,
you'll find all kinds of uses for these things. If you're working on cars, I got a buddy of mine that works on a lot of cars. He uses it all the time. Before you start to, put your back on the floorboard and try to get your head up underneath the dashboard and your legs up over, stick this thing up in there and see what you're getting yourself into. But he uses it all the time.
Yeah, and it is so we're big, back to our goals, save time, money, and aggravation, right? Well, this is one of those tools where you will spend, you'll spend a little bit of money on it, but I guess the question is what's that $35 buy for you? A ton less aggravation. Oh my God. And actually really a lot less time too, because good intel, if you want to call it that, good recon, it really saves in the long run because you don't make that mistake, and it's just as simple as that. You just don't make the mistake because you actually can see it. I actually dropped a tool in a wall one time, John. I took this endoscope and I put a little wire hook. I just taped it to the end of the endoscope. I pushed the thing down into the wall. I could see the tool. I made a hook in it and I hooked. There was a loop on it. It was a wrench. I hooked the loop, pulled it out. I mean, it was a $40 wrench, and I did it because I could use it, and it was actually strong enough to pull that wrench out. I just dropped it into it sort of pissed me off, but anyway, whatever. But yeah, so go look at it for an endoscope. They're very, very cool, and they're very, very inexpensive, comparatively inexpensive, and they do a great job. Kind of as John says, it's pretty much a must-have in your toolkit. So don't forget to join our Facebook group at Handyman Pros and join in our conversations, ask us questions, and all that kind of good groovy stuff. Questions at handymanprosradioshow.com. Also, if you'd like to send us an email, and then if you go to our homepage at handymanprosradioshow.com, you can leave us a voice message as well. And we are currently running a competition where we are working on blue tape. If you have uses for blue painter's tape other than blue for painting, we would like to hear your comments, and that is all done at the homepage. We're going to give away a $25 Amazon gift certificate. We are taking applications up until, July 1st, John, of 2020?
Yes.
So do that. Go to the handymanprosradioshow.com and leave us a voice message with your ideas for blue painter's tape besides painting. Make simple things, right? And we're going to draw a winner on that. So with that, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you next week. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've enjoyed this podcast and have derived some value from it, here's 4 things you can do. 1, tell your friends about this podcast. 2, hit subscribe on your podcast player. While you're there, leave leave us a review. 3, subscribe to our newsletter by going to handymanprosradioshow.com and click on the subscribe button. We'll inform you of upcoming events, shows, and give you actionable tips for maintaining your home and property. And 4, send us an email with your questions to questions@handymanprosradioshow.com. That's handymanprosradioshow.com. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next week on the Handyman Pros Radio Show.